Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another Double Take. This episode of Double Take is called Beautiful Horrible, and it features Mandy from 2018 by Panos Cosmatos, and Baskin by Can Evrenol from 2015. On the surface, these films might not seem to have too much in common, but they're actually two films that are about descents into hell, and they are actually quite similar. Baskin is a Turkish horror film about 5 police officers who go to this abandoned building, and Mandy is about a couple who are attacked by a cult, and Nicolas Cage exacts revenge on said cult. Baskin also features a cult. Both films are absolutely beautiful to look at, but they do contain fairly horrible stuff. Mandy, and again, both films have great music. You really want to watch them on as big a screen as possible. The two protagonists in Mandy, Nicolas Cage and Andrea Riseborough, are just thoroughly decent people. Again, like Cosmatos' other film, Beyond the Black Rainbow, it's set in the mythical land of the 80s. And they are just victimised by this cult, despite just minding their own business. Whereas in Baskin, the police officers, they start the film in a restaurant, talking about sex adventures, and apparently 70% of Turkish men break their virginity with having sex with an animal, apparently. And at the start, they're not necessarily very likeable, which I think is maybe an error on the filmmaker's part. As the film goes on, a couple of them are a little bit more likeable than the rest. Both films are fairly simple narratively. Obviously, Nicolas Cage exacts his revenge, and the police officers go down literally to find a cult and find hell, essentially. Baskin is kind of like Event Horizon, but the images of hell in Event Horizon were shown as quick flashes and very kind of cut together very quickly, because to get an R rating they had to kind of make it, you just kind of saw flashes, which in some way was more disturbing. In Baskin, it's Event Horizon, but there's no cutaways. There's no quick cutting. There is oodles and oodles of red stuff and fairly disgusting things going on. Both films use the colour red a lot and filters in the camera. Again, they're both beautiful to look at, even though they're both fairly audible. It just struck me while watching Baskin that Mandy is kind of a kind of deranged twin of Baskin. There's also a kind of recurrent thing with dreams in Baskin. One of the police officers, we have flashbacks to when he was a kid. So there's a constant bouncing between what's reality and what's not. And well, sadly, some of the reality is actually real. And what they find at the bottom of the stairs is not very pleasant. It's done really well in the sense there are things that you just kind of see out the corner of your eye, and you would have to use the pause button to actually see exactly what's going on, but you know it's fairly nasty. Baskin does take its time. It's about 50 minutes in before all hell breaks loose, figuratively and literally. It is kind of a little bit philosophical, as far as, you know, the leader of the cult states that hell isn't actually a place. Hell is always inside us. We carry it with us. It's just a matter of letting it out and using our eyes for other purposes. If you have a strong stomach, I would recommend Baskin. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a great film, but it certainly is an experience. And just because it builds a sense of dread, and it is quite creepy before it gets to the really crazy stuff, it's kind of far superior to the kind of American horror fare. Mandy is more of a trip. There are kind of psychedelic elements. Again, the use of colour, the use of kind of atonal music, and again, really in your face visuals. But there's also a kind of bizarre poetry to Mandy. Personally, I prefer Cosmatossy's first film, Beyond the Black Rainbow, but Mandy is still a good film, and I would recommend that too. So if you want an interesting double bill, not necessarily while you're having a dinner, but check out Mandy and Baskin. So thank you very much for watching. Please leave the comments below if you'd seen either or both films, or whether you see parallels with them, or whether they're just two completely separate experiences. So thank you very much for watching this lovely little double take, and hopefully we'll see you again. This is Solid Jerome saying have a nice evening.